Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. I'm delighted to be here with my friend Kim Strickland. It's probably weird that I'm calling you a friend because we work together at this school. Would you consider us friends, or what do we got going on?
Oh, all the above.
Yeah, we can have a dual relationship where you could be a student and a teacher at the school, and we can be friends. Because you
Yeah,
also
yeah.
taught a class at the school. What was your class that you taught?
I'm sorry?
What class did you teach at school? It was magic. It was astral magic, wasn't it?
Right, 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 right.
It's
There's a lot of books on planetary magic. There's uh there are several,
mhm.
okay? And if you use your astrology chart as fate as a default, okay, then people like Christopher Brennan and all that with that remedial. He has a chart on what's happening at the time of your age.
Oh yeah, like the perfection
Right,
chart.
right, right. And what if you? The theory is, um, if you look at a particular picture that really enamors you, like I love wizard pictures and you'll start looking like it. So you use your astrology chart. Okay, the default is the environment you were raised in, and if you don't know about your astrology chart, you'll probably end up doing what it says, good or bad.
Hmm. Well, okay, you're the one who says that every chart is perfect. What do you mean by
Yeah.
that?
Well, uh, I don't know if there's reincarnation or anything like that. I mean, everybody sort of just accepts it, but uh my chart is perfect because that's what I experience. Actually, physically in the moment experience. Like right now, Mars is transiting my sixth house. Okay, house of servants. Okay, and I'm tired of being a servant. you
Yeah.
know, and the Uranus just gives it a little bit of uh salsa, some little spice.
Whoa. Well, I'm your servant today in this video because I really just want to make sure everyone gets to know you a little bit in this video because
Yes.
so you were talking about how if we know our chart but or we're unaware of our chart, we might just live the default pattern of the chart. But you're saying that you can also enact magic or do certain things to make sure you're living up more mega
Right.
manifestation or like is that kind of
It,
what
it's a, it's a tool of enlightenment if you understand it,
mm, yeah.
because you came into this world like evolutionary astrology with a mission. Like I love to study the North Node and things like that. And evolutionary astrology sort of gives you just a prescription, okay? But with the default, uh, you just might not make it.
Hmm.
It's
So I,
all based on your choices.
yeah, well, I think I mean, I really agree with you. The ancients would say that the reason to learn the chart is to marry your intelligent mind with the heart mind. So the
That,
chart's kind of
that
like the map of your heart and what your heart might be into. So let's say your heart is into celestial magic, which it is.
right,
If
right.
you then say you see that in your chart and then you say, "Oh, my chart's into celestial magic. I'm going to train to be a magician. You know, it's like it would be like taking your chart and deciding to go maximal with it. I mean,
Right, right. Now, the reason that Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, if you read Bonetti, and I'm on the 2.1 right now of your
okay.
book, and uh let's see, I was saying it. If you look at uh
That's
there's a I was where did tropical come from? And there is a Greek astrologer in the 5 BC or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he influenced people like Ptolemy.
hmm, interesting.
And I hope I'm staying on subject, but um,
Sure, the subject is
anyway,
just getting to know you.
yeah, this is fascinating for me. Uh, I have a Virgo midheaven with a sun in the third house opposite, not exactly opposite. And so, based upon all my readings, astrology fits the bill, but I could do other things too. Because when I used to sell trucks, oh, I just got people into a buying frenzy, and they just we just did the deal, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, I love
as
talking
long as they're
sales.
huh?
I love talking sales with you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
But so
anyway.
as far as the ancient house systems and the tropical versus cereal, it's like that's where like Chris Brennan and his school and all of that, he's much better than I am on those things because he's a historian and like those, he's probably a savant in history, like as far as
Right,
I'm
right,
more on the side of translation where it's like I deal with source text and he deals with history and it's like that's where I
right,
really feel like I'm missing something that he has is this.
right,
But I
right.
do know, like in Valens, he starts to chop up the houses into these kind of three sections, and we actually see that happen in book. I can't remember which book it is, like four, I think. But as far as the tropical and sidereal zodiacs, didn't we figure out at our reading group that he was basically living at the time before the tropical and sidereal zodiacs started to separate? So he must have been there must have been
No,
a ability. No.
I that's what I thought, but it tropical started around 5 BC
Five?
in Greek astronomy, astronomy or astrology, and it's based upon the calendar.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so now, like the month of March, I was born in the month of March. It's wet, stormy, and can't make up its mind if it wants to be cold. Now that's in the temperate zone. I don't know other zones,
Mhm.
but we basically all have friends that are in the temperate zone.
So
And
tell me, are you enjoying reading Vedic Valens, or what's your experience with reading?
oh yeah, I you have to sort of focus, and make up your mind and really give it an hour or two a day, and I want to put a plug in for you. You have this on Thursdays, and I'm surprised that not a lot of people have taken up on it.
Yeah.
And so please, whoever's listening to this, contact Andy and join up on Thursdays. We have a good time.
We have a great
We
time. Yeah,
we laugh a lot.
yeah, totally. We laugh a lot. Yeah, the Vedic Valens reading group on Thursdays from 4 to 5 Pacific time. Why do not a lot of people come? I'm actually more well known for astrological remediation. I think a lot of people don't even know that I translated Valens and I don't
Right.
do the best at marketing the school right now because I'm so busy. It's kind of like, I see the way I see it is whoever God brings to the session, that's who they bring. It's like, and maybe you and the crew and I there's a little crew of us, but it's like maybe
But
we're supposed to be enjoying the Valence series together, and that's that. But I do
yeah,
see that there might be people who join along the way. This is actually really valuable for me to read Valence, because you'd think because I translated it and read in Greek, like I know Valence, but it's been like 5 or 10 years since I actually finished the Valence anthology, maybe 5 years. And I've never actually read it full in English. Like I read it in Greek, and while you're doing that, you're looking at these mathematical sentences and everything like that. And it's like it's just nice to go through it and just read it. So I'm actually in some ways learning Valence with you.
right,
Because
right.
yeah.
Well, I'm surprised that not a lot of people. I know it's late or whatever, but
Mm,
I'm here to stir up the astrology world. It's
yeah.
is like a good friend of mine asked me, well, how's that working out for you? You know,
I love it. I love your presence. You are a little bit of a rabble rouser. And am I allowed to
right.
talk about your chart or no?
Yeah, that's fine. But like Uranus is in the eighth house. Well, the eighth house, they added in the word transformation. Where did that come from? And so I like to look at the why. Why is that there?
Yeah.
And because like on my Facebook page, I just put in a Bonetti, the life of Bonetti, Mr. Dykes, uh, that wrote that article on Skyscript.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I need to spend more time on Skyscript talking about the translations in order for them to really get well done.
right.
But like I'm just so busy. But I'm really curious. Let's talk about your readings, because you have some readings up in the mix, and I'm really curious about them. You have like 3 or 4 things you're really working on. So what are the readings that you like to do for people?
Okay. Well, I don't do anything with relationships.
Okay.
Nope. I want to understand what belief is. Okay. And okay, so we believe in astrology. Okay, which is a pseudoscience, they say. But if you look at it as a weather chart, if you look at it as a environmental chart, it doesn't. Even though we are ants and could be affected by the planets, okay, it's just a way to explain your experience. Okay, I remember one astrologer we were talking. He says, "What, you had very narcissistic parents." I said, "Boy, did you get that right?" But what uh, do we want to go with this magic thing or what?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, uh, we are related to the gods, whether that's aliens or what. But there's been people all through history that have investigated this and actually did it. And I mean, like Jesus was a wonder worker, okay? And so I believe in astral magic. There's Christopher Warnock. He has a little bit of a teaching on that. Uh, but I do know that what you pay attention to is what you become.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
manifestation theory right there.
right? And if you're always constantly riding your own butt and you can't be friends with yourself, then you'll be totally deceived. I mean, you have to first of all get to the second house and really work on that second house.
Mhm.
And, even if there's nothing in your second house, it still has a sign, still has a ruler, whatever. But they say the eighth house is connected to magic. I'm just not accepting. I have to prove it.
Mm.
So
Yeah, I think a lot of parts of a chart could be connected to magic. I think the eighth house is one magical place. I think if we have placements in Scorpio, those can be magical. If you
Right.
have something conjunct Neptune, like Moon conjunct Neptune, that can be magical. Pisces can be fairly magical.
Right. Neptune, I think he's overrated, but it, for my chart, he's malicious.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm a sucker for everything.
Well, I enjoy your Moon Neptune. No, wait, about the reading. So tell me about you have an asteroid reading you like to do. It's like the asteroid golds. What is that?
Repeat that again, please.
There's like a reading you like to do on people's charts where you look at an asteroid. It's like the asteroid gold something.
No, it's the Arabic part,
Okay.
and that is Nemesis.
Okay.
It's the part of Saturn.
Okay.
Some people say it's karma.
Okay.
Okay. And that's probably the uh what I found out. That is mostly that that part is where you might fail. Okay. And because it's part of Saturn, part of karmic events, things such as that. And so if you know the weakest part of your chart, then you can sort of remediate it. Like mine's in the seventh house. And so what it means to me is that I come across pretty dominant or prejudiced or whatever, but I need to be less.
Yeah.
And I get along better when I let them believe whatever they want.
Interesting. So you're saying you want to do readings on the part of Nemesis because you want to look to what's tripping a person up and then help them with that situation.
That's correct. And like Donald Trump on November the 5th, his North Node will transit over his natal nemesis in the ninth house. So, here we're at the Republican Party and everything. And I don't know what that means. I've been trying to get a hold of Christopher and just think what he's got to say. But
Christopher Warnock?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
right. It's sort of hard to ask other astrologers questions because they always want to be paid.
Mm-hmm.
And we're a community.
Yeah.
And I tell you this, astrologers about like Baptist. They got their opinions, but if you get let's see, what is that? If you get five Baptists together, I mean four Baptists together, you always have a fifth.
It sounds like astrologers are a real party, just like the Baptists.
Oh yeah, now we could disagree and fight and fuss and call each other losers, whatever. But when we go to the conference and have our martini, we're the best of friends.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I wish that you could come to the Northwest Astrological Conference, Norwalk, and come to the lobby where, we all hang out at the lobby and we just chit chat. And, it's like I can't get to
Right,
Warnock either without paying him
right.
probably, or I can't get to any of the big wigs. A lot of my friends in astrology are now too famous for me. And it's like, I hear you. Like, I just like to hang around and talk astrology with people who aren't too famous for me, like
Yeah,
whatever that
right,
looks like.
right. Well, there is a hierarchy, and they have a better web page, they have a better whatever. But I've had readings with some of these people,
Wow.
and to this day, I think, well, that was a waste of money.
Mm.
And so that's what sort of motivates me to do what I do, is because if you don't walk away going, now I know, well then,
Yeah.
because I love the Huber system, talking about the aspects. But I had a reading with a Huber astrologer. It was like $246.
Wow.
And she really didn't tell me anything.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think being a good reader is actually a whole different art form than being able to read a chart in transits. Like, you can be able to read a chart in transits, but does that make you a good reader? I mean, I don't really know. I mean, some of these bigwigs, historians and all them, like, I don't even know if they do a good reading. I don't know. I mean, the person I know who my favorite astrologer who gives readings is Judith Hill, and she's like my one of my best friends, and one of the reasons we're best friends, we talk about readings a lot, like what would you do in this case. I mean, we don't hang out that much anymore because we're both so busy running schools, but I do think that being a reader is its own art form, and it's like I actually like
Right.
your idea for a nemesis reading a lot, because it's like it's a very focused reading of saying, like, let me look at this one point in your chart, and you're telling them what you're going to do, and then and it's from a remedy perspective. It's like it would give them ideas to make life better, which I really like that idea for
Right.
a reading. Now,
Right.
tell me about the sigils thing. Like, do you ever do sigils in a reading, or how do you use sigils?
Correct. The basic point of sigils is where you said it earlier, where your mind is talking to your subconscious. Okay. And really, sigil magic is where you make a sigil and well, I won't say on online here, but you basically have an emotional experience, and that sort of goes into your subconscious. It's almost like taking your moon, and planetary hours and things like that. Like some grimoires will tell you to make this sigil when Mercury is in the rising, when Mercury is in a moon rising sign. And if you know the planetary hours, then you can sort of, okay, now I know when I need to make this.
Mm-hmm.
And it works. Stephen Skinner is real good. I follow him quite a bit. He has a lot of grimoires.
You
Uh,
love
you know,
grimoires, yeah.
yeah, that he has a lot of translations of grimoires with David Rankin.
Huh, interesting.
Right. But if I told you where your nemesis is, then you become awakened. Okay. And then you're not fated.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Because remember, uh, and I'm gonna say her name, uh, this Chiron lady,
Mm-hmm.
that's hokum.
Mm.
Because Chiron, it was a total accident. Hercules touched him with a poisonous arrow. Okay. But Jupiter rectified the situation and made him mortal so he could die.
Hmm.
And he put him in the star.
Wow.
And so some people think that you're going to have Chiron all through your life. Not maybe if you don't know about astrology,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
but I've dealt with mine. I literally died to my Chiron,
Mm.
and I looked towards Jupiter for the answer.
Interesting. Yeah, I like what you're kind of saying is there's like an informed version of a chart and an uninformed version of a chart. And like before we know certain things about our chart, we're just living the uninformed version. But once
Right.
we know, then we become like a wise version of our chart holder. So,
Right. Now that's let me balance that out a little bit because people do become their chart. So if your chart is um one that you're financially prosperous, you know, at least you know it. In other words, you have confidence, you have authority, you have, I've proven it to my subconscious,
Hmm.
and I'm not, I, I, I'm not very wealthy, but uh, I died to it, you
Hmm.
know, yeah, I just died to it,
Hmm.
yeah,
Do you think,
because Jupiter's in the eighth house.
okay, do you think that anyone who wants to be wealthy can be? It's just a matter of manifestation, or what's the deal with that?
I would look at, okay, the let's see, I can't remember that lady's name, but there's a book by a lady, Financial Astrology. And so you look at the second house, the sixth house, the 10th house, and then the 11th house is where the cash is, because you're dealing with other people, you know.
Interesting. Huh.
So if see, like Neptune's in my 11th house, so cash is it 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 goes up and down, like the waves,
Hmm.
and so I need to make it stable. And then I go to my North Node, which is in Capricorn.
Hmm.
So it's just basically self-talk with
Yeah, I'm with you that it's like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, no, no,
Well, no, it's like I think in these the stringent manifestors' minds, they're like anyone who wants to be rich can be, and in the astrologer's mind, we say, well, there are constraints of the fates of the chart. Like we have to check the fates of the chart to see what,
right.
and like maybe anyone can become happy with the amount of wealth they do have, and in that way, everyone can be rich or something
Uh,
like that.
uh, but think what you could do with money. You can give that to like mercy ships where they operate on children that have cleft palates, or uh let's see, just whatever other charity that you like.
Yeah,
So
that's how I see it too. If I got rich, I would just be a philanthropist. Like I only
right,
need a certain amount of money to, well, and it's funny because you know how you say that astrologers you have to pay to get to them and stuff like that. I'm more of the like philanthropist astrologer where I'm just like I'll hang out with you if you want to talk astrology. Like, but of course not everyone can get to me because it depends on what I'm doing in a day and it really just depends. But yeah, I'm
right,
more of a builder of like relationships depending on like a building fashion. Like you and I have been building a relationship for months and
right,
months. And in that we have a friendship. And so I'm happy to do things with you for free because we've built a relationship. You know, it's like
right,
but that and I just feel like there are people who are more giving and people who are more like boundaried and it just
right,
that can be true of money or it can be of time or like it can
right.
be you know,
They might be in debt. Those astrologers could have a problem with money, and they have to do this to be, to pay for their debt.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And there was something else I was going to say, but that's all right. Uh
Well,
boy.
there was another, I swear there was another reading that you were looking at. Isn't there some asteroid that you look at too? It's like 4468 or 4483 or something.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that in a while.
Yeah,
I'm
that was
sorry.
like 6 months ago. Sorry, I'm so
Yeah,
six
no, no,
months.
my my memory is, I have to fight for it. So
Yeah. Well, maybe
yeah.
memory isn't what your soul's up to right now. Like
I'm sorry.
maybe memory's not what your soul's up to right now. You're not trying to remember things. You're trying to just be
What?
wise in the moment.
No, the Jupiter is transiting my sixth house, which has something to do with memory.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah,
Feel
so I don't get all bent out of shape.
okay. Well,
It
yeah,
was that.
I find you to be just as sharp philosophically as you ever were. Like, even if you don't remember the technicals of things, your philosophical game is right on the money. Like,
Right,
you know.
right.
So,
Well, see,
so
I was raised an evangelical, conservative Christian, And I got out of it because they couldn't do the miracles. Jesus said, ask and ye shall receive.
Wow.
He didn't put no conditions to it.
Interesting.
Then they go and they try to make an excuse. And, well, seek ye first the kingdom of God. They don't even know what that is. So, and
Yeah.
then I like this one here. I really booger them. But do you know that Yahweh was not Jesus's father?
Hmm. I didn't know he was supposed to be.
Well, even Jesus said it to the church, the synagogue leaders and all them. Your father's of the devil.
Hmm.
And so if there's a lot of good YouTubes on Yahweh, but
Let me ask you a question. What do you think the best use of astrology is?
well, I know if you go to astro.com that you could purchase a reading where like a solar return or what's upcoming and things like that, but you could just sort of do it yourself. And like this year, based on Chris Brennan's work, I'm still working in the ninth house.
Oh, you're in a
Okay.
perfection year?
Right. So next year, I'll be doing more 10th house subjects.
Hmm.
And so what I'm doing is preparing for next year, which is a ninth house subject.
Hmm.
Does that mean anything?
Yeah. So you're saying that you like to use astrology to kind of prepare for what's coming up and like do strategic planning kind of thing.
Right, right. And a good astrologer never talks about it. It doesn't matter if uh sun the sun is a conjunct transiting retrograde um Saturn. Okay. That's for the astrologer to know. His job or her job is to just, in plain English, say, look out for this,
Hmm.
you know, because everybody thinks they know astrology by just going and saying, well, Neptune's doing this and doing that. Well, what do you do with it?
Right.
Yeah, and that's why I got out of Christianity was basically because they didn't know what to do with it.
Interesting. So wow, so it's like you're wanting people to use astrology in a youthful way, and so I think remediation is that really resonates with you because it seems like you find use in remediation, right? You're kind of
Right.
a healer astrologer.
Right, right. And another word you can use is rectification. We rectify a chart. So why not rectify something coming up that's transiting? I'm not
Interesting.
ruled by my Mars in the sixth house. Okay. I use it. He's still an Olympian. They still put up with him.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you've definitely helped me get a grip a few times when I've been in a hard transit and you're like, is your chart ruling you or are you ruling your chart? And you're definitely like a person who really believes in not dominating the chart, but using the chart for its best magical purposes and not being controlled by or fated by a chart.
Right, right. Now, Zeus or Jupiter respects the fates. And so in my prayers, I'm always asking Zeus, hey, could you put a good word in for me?
Interesting. Yeah, I
Like,
love Jupiter transits, honestly. I really,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Are there any planets you really don't like?
Uh, no,
No. Even
no.
Saturn, you even like Saturn?
Saturn's there. Just remember he's been thrown off the throne, but Zeus keeps him there just because we do need order and Jupiter gets too expansive. So if you look at it like that, uh, change your attitude towards Saturn a little bit. But yeah, basically he's a toad, you know, and you sort of have to remind him, hey, you're not in charge no more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, you can't let Saturn get to you. I mean, I think people who like suffer from depression and stuff, it's like they kind of let Saturn get to them. And it's like you
Right.
gotta you gotta really keep a positive narrative about certain things and
Right.
you know, and
Well, Martin Schulman says that in his karmic astrology, he says that if you constantly are dealing with the past, you're under the rule of Saturn.
interesting. Yeah, I know some people like that who perseverate on the past and it's like I'm a future oriented thinker. I'm a Jupiter Uranus chart. You're a Jupiter Uranus chart too,
Yeah.
aren't you? Yeah,
Hmm.
Jupiter, we're Jupiter Uranus triangles. And it's like we
Right.
basically are like, or wait, you're a Jupiter Uranus conjunction, right? You're that
Right.
generation, that Jupiter Uranus in Cancer. I love those astrologers. They're like one of the
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
healing subset of astrologers I've ever met because I'm the Jupiter
Right.
Cancer trine Uranus and Scorpio generation. So we're like the
Yeah.
younger version of you guys, but like
Yeah.
yeah, I think being very forward thinking is very Jupiter Uranus. It's like
Right.
looking to the future and being like, okay, how can we create a brighter future?
Right. Well, that's why it's good to go to Valen's class and read Valen's because he has now this guy was what 200 AD.
Somewhere around there. It's like
Yeah,
180.
okay.
It's
See,
120 to
uh,
175. So
yeah, remember they had thieves, they had Pompeii, they had Roman soldiers. Um, I mean, it was a hard life for just a regular citizen. But hey, we all like to go to baseball games and football games and stuff like that. So we would probably all go to the uh, Coliseum.
yeah, yeah, totally. Totally. No, I love Valance for just like the historical content and also because he's kind of a rogue individual. Like he's a Scorpio Aquarius, I think, and he's
Yeah,
just kind of dark and a little morbid and kind of
yeah,
intense. But I
but
would like him in the modern day. I think I'd be like, all right, let's hang out because he's
right,
just
right,
cool.
right. But see, if you were able to bring balance forward, you'd make him go crazy because just think of all the things that we've got. I mean, what if Valen's own solar fire?
That's so funny. Valen's own solar fire. You
Oh,
nuts
he
so.
said, I'm in heaven.
That's funny. You know what I want to do with you for our next video? I want to think of like 10 philosophical questions that younger astrologers like might wrangle with, like how to use X, Y, and Z, and then see what your answers are on those. What do you think of that?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
just,
that would be a really good use to your chart.
right. And I'll say this, I've looked, studied my chart a lot, and then I finally figured out something. I need to talk to people. I need that communication, that tribalism, you
Yes.
know. Um, my wife, uh, she's a little nonverbal, okay, but I have to sit there, I don't know, I don't have anybody that's interested
Yeah.
in what I'm interested or passionate about because they're not.
Mm, yeah.
But
Well, no, okay.
she knows that it works. So
Yeah, well, your Mercury and Venus and Aquarius in the third house, I believe, is really communal and community based. And you've said to me a few times, like, I wish people would listen to me. And so that's why I was like, let's just get you on camera so that people can actually hear you. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna call this video. Of like, I think I might say like meet Kim Strickland. I don't know
yeah,
what we should call it, but it's like I do actually think that the crew at school and beyond would benefit from hearing your wisdom. And I think when you're saying to me, I need people to listen to me, I think your soul is actually saying, I have some things to share with the younger generations that need to be heard. And
Right,
that's why I want to literally craft like 10 questions before we meet next time.
right.
Maybe next time we should give ourselves a whole hour and we should actually do like philosophical questions with Kim Strickland, because I think,
Yeah,
because I learn a lot from you. You know what I mean? As
yeah.
far as how
Well,
to
thank you.
be.
Yeah. Well, the reason that I'm passionate or energetic or enthusiastic is because it helped me. And I want to tell everybody why it's true, because it helped me.
Yeah.
And all I'm doing, I don't like to tell everybody my secrets, but you know, why live a life of stress? I
Hmm.
mean, it don't make no sense.
Hmm.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
just like animals, we know when to move for the water, we know when to move for the grass, I, we, and that's what a chart is. It's the environment you live in.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think you're right. It's like why be stressed out in the chart you have? Why not say this is perfect, like you always say, and say like my chart is perfect and my lot in life is perfect and I'm going to enjoy this place.
Right. Then when the astro magic comes involved, is you get you a good stick, good stick, and you make your circle and you just whop that ground and said, now I demand to understand this thing.
Well, that's a really good place to stop because I think this is a good stop. But when we hang up, I'm gonna email you and set up another time because this was so good talking to you that
Okay.
I think we should do it again and we should have a grill you on philosophy. That's what we're gonna
Yeah.
do.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, and I really appreciate you. And I like again, y'all need to go to the Valens classes on Thursday.
Yeah, I would love to have more people at the Valence class. They actually are missing out on something great because we're clipping along in Valence and it's a really cool book
Yeah.
or series of
Yeah.
books. So, all
Well,
right, I'm gonna stop the recording. All right.
yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, bye-bye.